There are two kinds of people in the world, my friend. Those with a rope around their neck and the people who have the job of doing the cutting. Listen, the neck at the end of the rope is mine. I run the risks.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Two can dig a lot quicker than one.
That is a sexy intro. Job well done, Andrew Trujillo. Thank you, as always, for doing an amazing job with the production skills.
That's why they pay me the some bucks.
That's why they call me, or that's why they pay me the mid bucks.
Yep.
That's what I always say.
That's why they pay me bucks.
Bucks. But great job, Andrew. Great intro. And a huge shout out once again to Chapman Automotive Group, making a difference one customer at a time. I am loyal forever to Chapman Honda. All right, let's get to the good, the bad, and the ugly, brought to you by Chapman Automotive Group. As always, we start off with the good. Unfortunately, my guy, Ollie Farhank, isn't here, so I'm going to do two of each today, and I know Andrew's got some as well. Let's do the, obviously, starting off with the good. Huge shout-out to the Arizona Triathlon team for winning its first ever home meet, the Duel in the Desert. And the Duel in the Desert is usually used when it comes to Arizona versus ASU in football. It's the Territorial Cup. It's the Duel in the Desert. And Arizona Triathlon, they made the Duel in the Desert their first home meet where they played against...
Which is mad ballsy.
They played against ASU.
Yeah.
And ASU, before Arizona won the Triathlon National Championship last year, ASU had won the previous 6. So ASU was the top dog when it came to triathlon. And then our guy Wesley Johnson came over and put together a great group of athletes. He recruited players, athletes like Kelly Wetland, who was a swimmer at New Mexico, got some overseas talent as well, and crafted together a talented roster, one that went on to win a national championship a year ago. And Kelly Wetland, she was a part of the first ever recruiting class by the U of A triathlon program. And I think it's very fitting that she was the top finisher at the national championship last year, and then in the first home event, she was the first one to cross that finish line. So Kelly Wetland, get to know the name, folks. This is one of the top athletes on the University of Arizona campus, and I feel like she doesn't get talked about enough, but she's killing it right now, and she just led Arizona Triathlon to their first ever home win. So shout out to Kelly Wetland. Shout out to the Arizona Triathlon program. You are one of my goods for this week.
Man, I hope Arizona State's so frustrated. We just walked in and we're like, oh, you do three events back to back to back? Huh, that looks like fun.
Yeah. Cycling, swimming, running.
Yeah.
I think we could.
Can we play?
We could try that out. And Arizona just totally stole their mojo. Another good shout out to Southside football in Tucson, Arizona. Shout out to all the Southsiders out there, because usually in recent years, it's been the struggle bus on the South Side with programs like Sunnyside, like Desert View, like Pueblo. But man, Sunnyside football right now, they are off to a great start. They just beat the defending 4A state champs in Micah Mountain.
Damn.
Sunnyside beating Micah Mountain 14-10. Big win for the Blue Devils. And it's good to see Sunnyside have football success. When I think of Sunnyside football, I think back to the early 2000s when Richard Sanchez was the head coach and Philo Sanchez was the star player, and they were winning state championships, and they were one of the premier programs in Southern Arizona, and they did it with a bunch of small wrestlers. The Sunnyside, they had a bunch of undersized kids that are overlooked, kids that wouldn't be considered like football players at the next level.
But kids who know where the center of gravity is.
But wrestlers, They are badass, and they know physicality and violence, and they take it out on the football field. And back in the day, Richard Sanchez had Sunnyside football humming. And then, they took a period where they weren't really good. And now this year, Sunnyside football is good. They just beat Micah Mountain. And you know who's also good? Desert View.
Hell yeah.
The Jaguars, baby. That school off of Valencia, they are 4-0 to start the season. So you got Sunnyside. They're off to a winning record. They just beat Micah Mountain. Desert View is undefeated right now. I'm excited for that Sunnyside Desert View game coming up here. I think either this week or next week, but it's coming up here very shortly. And then Pueblo, they don't have the winning record like Sunnyside and Desert View, but Pueblo just debuted their new turf field, and they beat Copper Canyon, I think, like 40-0. So debuting their new turf field, ending their losing streak, and looking good while doing it. And that turf at Pueblo Stadium, it looks fantastic. So shout out to my guy Sly Lewis for finally unveiling their turf. And so my good for this weekend, Southside football. Desert View, Sunnyside, Pueblo. You guys did a damn good job Friday night. Shout out to you guys.
Hell yeah.
Andrew, you got any goods?
Oh, my good over the weekend is just the official start of hockey, baby. NHL preseason getting underway. My Golden Knights did lose to the Sharks, but it's preseason, so it doesn't matter.
Hockey is here.
Yeah.
Hockey is here. All right, now let's move over to the bad. My bad, first of all, has to be the Green Bay Packers losing to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, it should be the ugly, but I have two uglies that I want to get to. But, man, how are you going to lose to the Cleveland Browns? How are you going to lose 13-10 to Cleveland Browns after such a promising 2-0 start? And the part that is really, it just makes it all bad, is that Cleveland scored all of its points in the final 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Green Bay, they were up 10-0. And then Cleveland rallied back in the last few minutes, and they kick a game-winning field goal led by their rookie kicker. Just a bad look for the Green Bay Packers. Now, I am excited about how they're going to bounce back because coming up here this weekend, you know I love storylines. I love a juicy storyline. And the Green Bay Packers, they're playing against the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry's World.
Oh, man.
Micah Parsons returning to the team that gave him his NFL start. And he gets to play against that team that traded him away. Now, you know, there was a contract dispute. It's not quite like the Luka Doncic situation where the trade just came out of nowhere, right? There was some negotiations, and Micah Parsons said, hey, if you guys can't give me the deal, go ahead and trade me away. I want to be here for the rest of my life or the rest of my career. But, you know, if you guys need to trade me, go ahead. And they did it. They traded him to the Green Bay Packers for a bag of chips and Kenny Clark. And now we get to see these two teams go up against each other this weekend. So I will be tuned in to Sunday Night Football to watch Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers go up against the Dallas Cowboys. And these two teams also have great history, too. Great playoff history, rivals, longtime teams that have gone up against each other. So I'm excited for that game. But, yeah, Green Bay, they get my bad for this weekend. Another bad, I got to give it to Nebraska football. Nebraska football, they lost to Michigan over the weekend. It was a one-possession game. And the reason why I put them on my bad is Matt Rule, their head coach, who I think is great for Nebraska, but he now has a 2-23 record against ranked opponents. And Nebraska football, it doesn't matter who's their head coach. They are going to lose one-possession games. They're kind of like the Chargers of college football. And take a look at this. Games decided by single digits at Nebraska. The last 5 head coaches. Bo Pelini was 20-11, pretty solid. Bill Callahan, 10-7. Mike Riley was 7-10. Scott Frost, who's now back at UCF, he's killing it right now. Scott Frost was 5-22 in single-digit games. And now Matt Rule at Nebraska, he's now 4-11 in single-digit games. So Nebraska football, they get my bad. All right, now moving on to the ugly. Man, it's ugly in Stillwater, Oklahoma right now.
Ugh.
Oklahoma State losing to Tulsa over the weekend. And remember, I said on Friday with Eric Cohen and Ali, I was like, look out, man. Look out for Tulsa. You know, these are the guys that were overlooked by schools like Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. So they go into this game feeling like, okay, I got something to prove. This is a personal game. And I kept hearing, oh, Tulsa, bad start to the season. Don't buy into that. Oklahoma State is going to take care of business. Well, Oklahoma State freaking lost to Tulsa. So Eric Cohen, Ali, I told you so. In your face. But, man.
The rest of the parlay didn't hit, though.
No, it did not. But Mike Gundy, what's going on with him? I mean, this was a guy that was supposed to be one of the top coaches in college football.
Yeah, he's a man.
And now he's well over 40, for sure. He's definitely a man. I think his days are numbered. I think that Mike Gundy, I don't think we're going to see him as the head coach of Oklahoma State. Now, he's a freaking legend in Stillwater. Always will be. But it just seems like he has totally lost his program right now. And speaking of guys that have lost their program, Dabo Swinney in Clemson. Another tough loss for Clemson over the weekend. And, Clemson football, at one point, this was one of the premier programs in college football. They were contending for national championships year in and year out, and they lost to Syracuse 34-21. And I think this is karma coming back and getting Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney, I wouldn't say karma. I think Dabo Swinney's stubbornness has led to this, because Dabo Swinney has said over and over again, I don't believe in the transfer portal. We're going to get guys, we're going to develop them, and we're going to turn them into great players. And I appreciate that kind of thinking, but you also have to not be so stubborn, and you have to get into the portal. You have to treat the transfer portal like free agency in positions that you have to fill. Why not go out and get an experienced player and get a veteran guy that can step in and give you some good production? Instead, you're relying on a guy that you're training and bringing up through the program, or you're relying on a freshman. And his stubbornness with the portal, I think it's come back and it's bit him in the ass. Like, you have to be able to adapt in college football, and Dabo Swinney has not adapted over the last couple of years, and that's why ever since really Trevor Lawrence left, what has Clemson done? Dabo Swinney could sit there and be in a press conference like, well, we won 8 conference championships. We're going to the college football playoff year in a year. I think that's successful. It's like, yeah, you're also talking about your accomplishments at a time that there was no transfer portal. All those things that you're celebrating, it wasn't around when the transfer portal became a thing. And then once the transfer portal became a thing, you did not adapt. And now I think Dabo Swinney's paying for it. So hopefully Dabo Swinney, when he's the head coach at Alabama, can learn from, and I am calling it, that's my prediction. I think Dabo Swinney, whether it's him or Lane Kiffin, they're going to be the next head coach at Alabama if they decide to can Kalen DeBoer. But you got to be able to adapt, man. And now Clemson, they went from the headliner of the ACC, and now Miami has taken that spot. The U, baby. The U. By the way, speaking of the U, how great was it to see Pat McAfee on College Game Day?
Going to the pool?
Jumping in the pool.
Oh, yeah, man.
I know people, Pat McAfee is an acquired taste, right? But he's been awesome for College Game Day.
That dude is college football, though.
I agree.
I mean, the college football just coalesced into a person, and he started hosting a show. I love it.
I agree, man. You got any uglies from this past weekend, Andrew?
Bad, ugly. It wasn't necessarily anything that they did, more something that they didn't do. Just the Baylor Bears not being able to get it done against Arizona State.
Oh,
just because, you know.
You said so much by just saying,
Yeah.
All right, that is it for the good, the bad, and the ugly, brought to you by Chapman Automotive Group. Make sure you check out our guys at Chapman Automotive Group, making a difference one customer at a time.